¿Qué pasa to the pack? It's Pack here. 7th roster update of NBA 2K22 dropped today. I'm going to cover the biggest rating changes for every single team and tell you what I think about them. Before the video starts, please join the pack and subscribe. That'd be clutch of you. And leave a like on the video because it helps the channel grow. And let's go. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the Philadelphia 76ers. As I always do, the big one is Joel Embiid +1 from a 95 to 96. This makes him only one overall off from being the best player in the NBA, tied with Giannis. So he's tied right now with Nikola Jokic as being the second best player in the NBA. The other player that got actually a downgrade on this team is George Niang. He actually had a pretty good stretch, and that's why he got upgrades, but he goes down 2 for the moment. I guess he's just playing worse. For the Milwaukee Bucks, it is Dante DiVincenzo -2. This player has gone all over the place. It's from an 81 down to 75. So 77 overall, still about his range of player. It's not like it's a massive downgrade, but it's something to look out for sure. The Chicago Bulls, surprisingly only one change. Still no Zach LaVine change, which is interesting. But Ayo finally gets his upgrade of a +1. He low-key deserves more. I think he's been getting a lot more playing time and playing a lot more better. But a +1 is still decent enough for Ayo. For the Cavaliers, a lot of changes, and rightfully so, because this team is winning way more than anybody could have ever imagined this season. Where do we start? We can start with Lauri Markkanen. Where did he go? Is he injured? I guess they have him injured, but Lauri Markkanen +1 for the Cavs. We have Rondo +1 as well. We have Lamar Stevens +2, who's getting starting minutes here and there, and Brandon Godwin +3. So a bunch of changes for this team. Brandon Godwin gets one of the bigger upgrades in this roster update. The Cavaliers are just playing so well, and so many players deserve upgrades. I'd even argue that Kevin Love still deserves even more of an upgrade. They're just killing it, man. So for the Celtics, we have Al Horford -1, leaving the 80 overall club for the first time in a long time. I can't remember the last time he was out of the 80 overall club. And then we have Enes Freedom, I think -1 as well, right? Yes, -1 as well. Josh Richardson -1, which is weird because I feel like he was playing pretty decent for a while. Those are, I guess, the big changes for the Celtics, all downgrades. Now for the Clippers, we have Reggie Jackson +1, Marcus Morris -1, and then Amir Coffey +2. So you have a bunch of players getting into the 77 overall range, right? And Zubac is still 78 overall. So that means that at the moment, because Kawhi and Paul George are injured, the best player is Zubac at the 80, it's a 78. And then the next best player is tied with 4 different players, right? And that's crazy. I mean, you look at this team, they're still in a playoff situation, right? And their best player is Zubac right now, which is crazy. That's unexpected, for real. The next player we have is Steven Adams. He goes -1. And then Xavier Tillman also goes -1 right here, which is weird because Xavier Tillman was a 79 at the beginning of the season. So a couple downgrades for the Grizzlies, but they're still one of the best teams in the NBA. So it's little changes, so it doesn't matter. For the Hawks, we have Onyeka Okongwu +1. I was wondering where he had gone because last season he was pretty decent. So I was just confused as to why he didn't get any rating changes at all this season, right? And then you have Kevin Knox, who's picked up from the Knicks, now to the Hawks, who gets -2. Somehow he got worse. Right, impressive. So for the Miami Heat, Tyler Hero only +1. I'm going to argue that Tyler Hero deserves a lot more than just +1, as being the leading scorer for the last 10 games for the Heat and being the best in the East. He deserves to have a higher rating, but whatever. Caleb Martin also goes +1. Man, who would have thought the Martin brothers would have gotten so much better so fast? That's crazy. I mean, the Heat have so many players throughout the season that no one saw coming to get good, like Max Strus, Omer Yurtseven, Gabe Vincent, and then also you have literally, Caleb Martin. Just so many players playing better than nobody thought, right? It's crazy. So LaMelo Ball gets a pretty big downgrade with a -2. It's pretty massive. Miles Bridges gets no upgrade at all, which doesn't make any sense because Miles Bridges has been playing amazing. This is disrespectful. And PJ Washington goes down to 1. That's it. For the Jazz, not too many big changes. Mike Conley -1, Hassan Whiteside -1, and I guess a pretty decently big one is Eric Pascal +1, who's getting more minutes. And I mean, he was playing so good with the Warriors. I thought he was going to be able to play good with the Jazz, but just it hasn't been happening. But he's playing a little better, which is good. Not many changes for the Kings. We have Terrence Davis +2, who's a 78 overall now, which is actually pretty his highest rating ever. And Tristan Thompson -1 for being a cheater. Yeah. For the New York Knicks, RJ Barrett +1, which makes him tied as the best player on the Knicks for the first time in his career. It's great for RJ. He's playing really well, but the team is still losing so much. And then Kemba Walker -1 as well. Besides that, no big changes for the Knicks. So for the Lakers, we have THT -1, so 75 overall now. Stanley Johnson gets a +2, so he's actually been really nice pickup for the Lakers. A surprise that they even gave him another contract, which is clutch. For the Magic, Cole Anthony -1, and I believe it is also Franz Wagner -1. So that means that Wendell Carter Jr. is the best player on the Magic now by far. But the other Wagner brother, Mo Wagner, gets +2. For the Mavericks, Luka Doncic +1, making him, one of the best players in the entire NBA, which is no surprise there. For the Brooklyn Nets, James Harden goes +1 again, making him tied for the second best player, which is very accurate. I've been saying that Harden's rating was a little too low, and especially how he's been playing lately, he deserves to be at least tied as the second best player with Kyrie. And DeAndre Bembry goes down 1, which sucks because he was +1. Like every week lately, he's been going up and down, which sucks. But still, I think this team, as long as Harden goes up, which is like their big 3, right? That's all that matters. So for the Nuggets, we have Aaron Gordon +1, making him now the second best player on the team easily, which is big. You know, the Nuggets are a playoff team. At least they're trying to fight for one, right? And obviously Nikola Jokic is carrying this team hard, but like to see Aaron Gordon be the second option on a good team is impressive because he was always good with the Magic, but they were never good, right? Now to see him being good on a good team is impressive. Will Barton also goes +1. He's been kind of up and down throughout the season too. Monte Morris goes -1. So a couple changes here and there for the Nuggets. I did miss one player, my bad. Jeff Green +2. Man, 34-year-old Jeff Green still putting in work in the league is crazy. So for the Indiana Pacers, we have Karis LeVert +1. He has been the leading scorer for the team for the past month, right? I think so. And then Chris Duarte also goes +1, or Duarte, sorry. He was Rookie of the Year candidate. Now it's not looking as solid anymore, but he's still been good. And then Lance Stevenson -1, which is weird because he's had good games, but he's also had bad games, so it's weird. We have Goga gets +2, which is one of the bigger upgrades in this roster update, sadly. Goga, he's only 21, and he has really good moments in the NBA. He can rebound really well. I hope he gets more minutes because you can tell that he could be pretty decent. He just needs a little more time. And then O'Shea Brissett gets a -2. So one of the biggest downgrades in the roster update as well. Only one change for the Pelicans, but it's a pretty massive one. Jose Alvarado, who doesn't even have a face scan change, or he's like a creative player. He's a +5 in this roster update from a 67 to a 72. Now, that's pretty massive. His name in 2K is a ball hawk, which I've never seen a player actually have, so that's pretty cool too. So, hey, look at him, +5. For the Pistons, Cade Cunningham +1, making him the best player on the Pistons, and it is well-deserved. He's finally finding his groove and playing very, very well. It's kind of crazy how he can do a little bit of everything really well. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Cade. People were already calling him a bust before he even got a chance, and now that he's getting a chance, people are being very quiet now. So it's impressive. For the Raptors, only Scotty Barnes gets -1. That's it. Scotty Barnes is still looking like a Rookie of the Year candidate, and he has up and downs, but he's a rookie, so what do you expect, right? For the Rockets, it's Kevin Porter Jr. +1. We talk about this dude every roster update. Either goes a massive up or massive down, but this time a solid +1 for him. For the Spurs, a couple changes. Actually, a good amount, right? So we have Lonnie Walker -1. It's weird because he's so athletic, but just has no skill with that athleticism. It's really frustrating. We have Kate Diop -2. He had a little month there where he was actually being one of our better defenders and was actually getting buckets here and there, but he's slowing down again, so -2 for Kate. And then Jock Landale, who's been getting minutes and was our backup center for a little bit, goes +2, which is still only a 70 overall, but he doesn't even have a face scan either, which is disrespectful. But at least, he at least is getting an upgrade for a rating, right? So for the Suns, this is, I think, the most interesting one, this roster update. Chris Paul +2, making them tied as the best player on the team with Devin Booker, right? I'm not opposed to this anymore. It's weird because I did say that Devin Booker is the best player. I still feel that Devin Booker is the best player and should at least have a +1 rating on this team over Chris Paul. That's what I feel. In fact, I'm not opposed to Chris Paul being a 90. I have no problem with that because he's been playing fantastic and his win shares are insane. But Devin Booker is still the best player on the team. I think he needed to go up and he didn't. So that's weird, but they might change it over the season. We'll see. So SGA +1. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't watched a lot of Thunder games this season, so I couldn't tell you why. But still, there's no doubt he's the talent on this team. He's like the person that they're going to have for a long time. He's 22. Josh Giddey also looks nice, and Lou Dort looks nice too. So massive surprise that the big two on the Timberwolves got no change, which is ridiculous because they're both playing out of this world, right? So that's wrong. So they should have been updated. Patrick Beverley goes -1, even though I thought he hasn't been playing lately, but whatever. Jalen Noel goes +1, so he's been actually pretty decent. Besides that, though, no massive changes for the Timberwolves. Still disrespectful that these two didn't get a change. So, CJ McCollum -1. No Nurkic upgrade, which is like It's like you're blind if you didn't upgrade him, right? And then Anthony Simons +1, entering the 80 overall club for the first time in his career. But to be honest, he should have had a much bigger upgrade than just an 80 overall. He should be like an 83 or even an 84. He's been amazing. I feel like that's wrong. For the Warriors, we have Clay -1, which is kind of heartbreaking because, like, you know, I've always said this. You've heard me say this before. If a player has been injured for a long time and they come back, you should not give them any rating change for a good month or two because they need to get back to form, right? Giving Klay Thompson a -1, it doesn't make sense because he just came back. Like, give him a little bit, 2K. That's ridiculous. All-star starter Andrew Wiggins gets no rating change. Jordan Poole goes -1, and that's going to happen when, you know, Klay Thompson kind of replaces you, right? And you're going to have to come off the bench now. That's going to happen. And Gary Payton goes +1. He's been fantastic all season and been growing like crazy. This team's stacked in terms of ratings. Like, everybody got at least a pretty decent rating. And then for the Wizards, Rui Hachimura is back and gets a -1. Again, like I said, if you've been injured and you just come back, you should not get a rating change for a while, but whatever. Okay, those are the rating changes in NBA 2K22. A couple controversial ones, but I want to know your opinion in the comments below. Overall, a pretty mid roster update. No big changes. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the channel, please give it a sub. I'll see you guys next time.